Aaron, what do you think a 24-year-old Aaron Rodgers would have said after family night in '08 had someone told him he'd one day have the chance to break Favre's record in the same stadium?
Must be a good run. It's been a good journey. Yeah, I didn't think a lot about that back in the day. I was just trying to kind of get to the next thing, and thought how cool it would be to play, 5 or 8 years in the league and figure out what I'm going to do next. Got to 10 and thought everything after that would be a, pretty special deal. But yeah, 17 years, a lot of years starting. Just have a lot of gratitude for all the people who had an impact on me during the journey. It's been a great journey. All the guys I got to share rooms with and got to be coached by, got to throw to some incredible players. It's fun to look back and think about the guys that I've thrown touchdowns to. It's definitely an interesting group of guys and great personalities, great players, and just very, very fortunate and a lot of gratitude for all these 17 years.
Steve McGargy.
Brett Favre had talked yesterday about you tying his record and said that you were going to break every record out there and that you're playing better as well as you ever have. I know he's said similar things in the past too. Just the praise he's given you lately, what does it kind of mean to you based on y'all's shared history as former teammates, and how often do y'all still kind of keep in touch or talk over the course of a season?
Yeah, I texted him Sunday night after the game, had a nice little exchange, but we keep in touch periodically. There'll be times where we're have a lot of contact, and times not as much. Just depends on what we're doing. We're busy people, but I have a lot of love for Farvey, and again, a lot of gratitude for the time that I got to spend watching him. Not a lot of the young quarterbacks are blessed with the opportunity to go to a team with a first ballot Hall of Famer in the same room, and to get to watch and learn for 3 years, man. Somebody asked me the other day, do you think things would have turned out the way they did had you been a starter in year one? And the obvious competitor in you and the confidence and the ego says, of course, of course, I definitely would have turned out this way. But I think the human element and the observer and the gratitude is understanding that things happen the way they happen to allow me to get in this position. And a lot of that is being able to sit behind Brett and watch, one of the greatest players, competitors, quarterbacks of all time, do it for 3 years and then figure out how to do it on my own.
Pete Doherty.
Hey, Aaron, do you think you've maybe taken a few more calculated risks this season? I say that of the tight window throw Sunday to Valdez-Scantling, and there's been a couple times you scrambled and taken the hit rather than slid. Anything to that?
Not necessarily. I think that there's times when the athleticism kind of gets the better of the judgment, and every now and then you think you might be able to squeeze through a little crack in the defense. It closes pretty quick though. You see it on TV, you see it on film, you feel it in the game. So it's just about doing the right thing. Sometimes you feel like, if you're at 8 yards, you might as well try and get to 10. But yeah, I'm trying to be smart out there and trust my instincts. And the last thing I want, and this goes back to working with Tom Clements for so many years, is the 0-yard sack. I mean, that of all the things I hate, and I hate, turn the ball over for sure, but probably nothing as much as I hate the 0-yard sack, because that is strictly on the quarterback. And that, had one the other night. And the first thing I did when I got up is I looked over and I'm thinking, okay, I think I got a yard there. I think we're okay. And then I found out it was a 0-yard sack. And those are the dumbest plays you can possibly make, I think, as a quarterback. And I hate those.
Rob Demovsky.
Aaron, wondering what you think of playing on Christmas and on a short week, albeit I guess not as short as what the Browns are going to face.
Yeah, definitely not as short as that. Look, we're in the entertainment business, and it's sports and it's competitive, but we are also entertainers. So to be able to entertain on Christmas, I think is a good deal. Maybe you feel that way when it's a home game a little bit more than if it was a road game having to travel. We've played on Thanksgiving many times during my career here, and playing at Detroit is always kind of nice because you're playing in that 12:30 Eastern slot. So by the time you get home, I mean dinner's just getting warmed up. So that's not a bad deal. And played on New Year's before. This is kind of part of the deal. You know that during the winter time, you're not going to be able to celebrate a lot of holidays in the same way you would as a younger non-professional athlete. But we're in the business of entertainment, and it's exciting to be able to entertain. And we're playing a early afternoon game, so there'll be plenty of time to enjoy the holiday festivities. Short week, as difficult as it is on the body, there's always a little bonus in the back end, and for us, it's a Sunday being off. So I look forward to the challenge physically and what's on the other side of Christmas as well.
Mark Daniels.
Hey, Aaron, happy holidays, first of all. Always enjoy your recall. What can you tell me about the first one to Greg? The call, the play itself, way back when I was still in my 40s.
The touchdown to Greg?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah. Well, playing Dallas, remember that one, Thursday night. And I've told the story before, but we're walking in for pregame warmups, and Creed was on. And I just happened to be standing next to Nate Weir, my longtime good buddy and trainer for us. And both kind of looked at each other and smiled and said, "This is going to be a good night." Didn't think it involved me, playing. I think both teams were 10-1 at the time. And I remember being struck by, in the pregame warmups, the severity of the crown on the field. It's a rarity. I don't know if any team has really any type of crown at this point. There's a couple that have little minor ones, but nothing was like that old Dallas Stadium. And Farby got kind of hit on a extended play, and I remember I was like, "Oh, here we go. I gotta, now I'm gonna have to play." And I remember one of the first plays that I was in there, I had long hair at the time, like I do now, and I was trying to wipe the hair out of my face, be able to remember what the call was, and got into a good rhythm though. I felt good about the plays that Mike called for me, and started moving around a little bit, and extended plays and scrambling. I said, "Man, I'm getting comfortable on this one," and put together a good drive down there. I remember I threw a bad one to Johnny, and then he ended up running in. That could have been an easy touchdown. I kind of threw a high one to him, John Kuhn, but that play was just a pin concept that we had, where Greg's just running up and running a stop route based on where we're at. Usually we like to throw that one where it's a catch and a touchdown, but Greg was a dynamic player for us, and great after the catch. I mean, you look at the highlight tape of him, it's like slant against San Diego, 70 for a touchdown, slant against San Fran, 70 for a touchdown. He had that ability to make guys miss, and he was obviously really fast. So I just kind of threw a ball in rhythm to him. He caught it, kind of stepped to the ball and avoided a guy and got in the end zone. And away we went. That was a good feeling. I was reminiscing, actually, to make this answer even longer. I was reminiscing about being in Baltimore in 2005 and getting a chance to play. And I remember at the time I had this personal strategy. If I ever got in, I said my strategy was look for 80, Donald Driver. And I remember the one chance I had to throw a touchdown in that game, we ran hard play action, and the entire week that play was a double read for drive, either take it to the post or take it to the corner, depending on how they're playing. And at that time, it was all too high during the week. So I came off the fake. I'm thinking I'm gonna throw a touchdown to Donald on a little skinny post, and he broke to the corner, and I totally got off him and rolled out to a pick. So when I got in the game in 2007, Greg was emerging at that time to become a big time player for us. I said, "Okay, throw it to 80 or throw it to 85." And on this play, I threw it to 85, and he scored for us.
Ryan Wood.
Hey, Aaron, we know what Brett said on Twitter about you breaking his record. I'm curious what he had to say to you about breaking his record. And as you went from that first touchdown to Greg to where you're at now, what was the point that you realized that this was a possibility, that one day, and not even a possibility, an inevitability, that one day you would be breaking this record?
Well, to be honest, Ron, I never thought it was an inevitability, a possibility for sure at times, but there were definitely moments, dealing with injuries like I did, 15 season, getting cleaned up, and then obviously 2 collarbones and the knee in 18, where uh, it didn't seem like this was an inevitability at all. Um, but after last season, I knew that I was getting closer, and if I had a decent season this year, I could get home and get this record, which is definitely meaningful to me because of the history of the franchise and how much I've enjoyed my time here. As far as Farvey and I, the one thing I will say that he mentioned, which is one thing I've been really taking to heart the last couple of years, is he just said, enjoy it because it goes by so fast, and the next thing you know, it's over. And it harkens me to one of my favorite clips from The Office, one of my favorite TV shows, where Andy Bernard is looking at the camera. I think Creed's playing the guitar in the background. They're doing a mantra, and he says, I wish they'd tell you, I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but I wish they'd tell you you were in the good old days before you left them. And I've often thought a lot about that. It's, reminded by Farvey's comments, but to just enjoy these times because these are the good old days. And, you never know when they're going to be done. And it goes by so quickly. To be sitting here with gray in my beard at, 38 years old, on the verge of breaking one of those milestone records that I watched Farvey do when he threw 420 in the Metrodome and 421 and all the other records I got to watch him break.
Mike Spofford.
Hey, Aaron, do you think other teams might try to defend Devontae the way the Ravens did, or do you think that was just a one-off based on Baltimore's scheme and the personnel they had available?
Everybody's been trying to make sure he has presence inside and out. Teams do it differently. They'll, shade a safety to that side or drop a safety down inside to make sure they have presence against him. But, 2 guys in that close proximity, I haven't seen that in a while. But teams will double him in the red zone and double him on 3rd down. So it's nothing new. I mean, he's faced, this wasn't the first game that he's faced a lot of attention. I mean, he's been doubled for much of the season. And the times that he's singled up are the times that, we sometimes get some opportunities to throw him the ball, like we did on the first 3rd down of the game when I just missed him down the left sideline. But no, I don't expect anybody else to play us and to not make him the focus of trying to stop us.
Tom Silverstein.
Aaron, I know this is one of those what if questions, but for Favre, he got traded after that first year and everything changed in his career. And for you, you didn't get picked with the number 1 pick and everything changed for your career. Do you ever think about what would have happened, how it would have been different if you had been picked first?
Yeah, for sure. Totally. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier is, that gratitude for the way things went down, because I feel like ultimately it was what was best for me. Not just to be able to learn behind Brett, but to get picked by this organization, to kind of have a resettling of the ego and the competitive drive and the work ethic of okay, and now I'm in a room for the first time in my life with a guy who's better than me. He throws it better. Mastery of system is better. Instincts are better. Pocket presence better, and that was great for me because I really got to see exactly what I needed to work on in order to become great, because my dreams and my aspirations and my drive was to be great. Had I gone to a space where I didn't have that in the room, maybe I wouldn't have been able to firsthand see kind of comparatively where I was at to where I want to be. Now, as a competitor, as a, person who's had success, you always think that you can do it regardless of where you're at and regardless of who's around you. But the fact is, a lot of it is situational. It's coaching, it's motivation, it's inspiration, it's a lot of things that you can control, and then some things that are outside of your control. And I'm fortunate that a couple of those things are out of my control. So the coaching and then being able to play with Brett kind of went in that fashion because I got to see what greatness looked like firsthand. I got to be coached by Tom Clements and Alex Van Pelt, as a younger player, Mike McCarthy calling the plays for me, Joe Philbin as a great mentor as a young player. Having those guys was really special. Then obviously the kind of guys that we've had here, the Donald Drivers and Jennings and Jones and Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, obviously Devontae that we have now. It's been a good group of guys to be able to play with.
Just a reminder, Rashawn Gary is at the other Zoom room. We'll continue. Kyle Malzahn.
Hey, Aaron, you talked about the touchdown to Greg Jennings just a little bit before, but 442 touchdowns is a lot, and you've been doing this a very long time. But when you look back, is there one touchdown that continues to stand out throughout the years that you've thrown?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I enjoy kind of the fun ones where it's a specific scheme that comes together, or a throw maybe. Like the one to Aaron Jones the other night on the backside of a play that, I'd seen Farby do back in 2005 in the preseason. That's a fun one to think about. Tom Crabtree, running down the middle of the field on an 80-yard play against kind of a wacky, kind of too high trap defense with a play action, with a play that used to rhyme with Yoda. It's like, that's a fun one to think about. Some of the tight window throws that we had, from Bobby Tunyon this year to going back to J Mike years ago, in 2009, I believe, on a tight window. First time I threw a sluggo for a touchdown, slant and go to Jordy Nelson against Detroit in 2008 is a special one. Some hole shots that I've hit, some scramble drills that we've hit. James Jones in the hoodie game, sideline crazy catch that he had, keeping his feet down. My first touchdown to Jordy Nelson coming back in 2010 after a concussion, on an action that went I think it went 80 for a touchdown. That kind of got us settled in a game we had to win in order to keep our playoff hopes alive. The other ones in the Super Bowl are special for sure. But yeah, there's too many to think about, and then some will hit your brain or you see a highlight. It's more the guys. It's the Tom Crabtrees and the John Coons and the James Jones and contested catches and Randall Cobbs, Hail Mary and Jeff Janis in Arizona. Just Richard Rodgers and in Detroit. Just those. It's more the moments than it is the specific throws or routes.
We'll do two more. Cassidy Hill.
Hey, Aaron, Jadeveon Clowney's on the reserve COVID list, but if he is back by Saturday, without sort of giving away your game plan, how much are you weighing him versus Myles Garrett, trying to go away from them? How do you balance having the two of them both there?
Well, if they're both playing, you can't really go away from. You got to go at one of them. I mean, if you're running the ball, you're gonna be running the ball at one of them. They're stud players. I mean, Garrett is, had just a fantastic season. I mean, he's got to be mentioned as Defensive Player of the Year in that conversation. He's just a monster. I mean, he's a fantastic player. He legitimately has gold jacket possibilities in his future if he keeps playing the way he's playing for a few more years. And Clowney, has been a specimen since he got in the league, and we played against him a few times over the years. Fantastic player, just stud, long, athletic, smart. So look, you got to try and find a way to slow him down a little bit, but it's going to be a physical game. You know that when those two guys are on the field.
And last one, Aaron Nagler.
Aaron, it looked like you pulled out the sleight of hand play action fake where the ball fake where you hide the ball and then you roll out a few more times than usual. Like most games, we've seen you run it once, but this game on Sunday, you ran it like 2 or 3 times. I remember a couple years ago, you guys ran it in San Francisco and Bosa was literally like in your lap as you came out of it and you had to get the ball out. Does it speak to the level of trust you have in Yosh and Dennis that you can hide that ball and you're not going to get walloped from the backside?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. The Bosa one that I remember, he was right up there and then he went with a fake. And so I was able to get outside. In actuality, it doesn't have anything to do with the tackles. It's really the fake. You just have to trust the fake, and then you have to not time it up, but you have to match it up with the run. So and you have to be able to run counter and power if you want to run counter keeper and power keeper. The fake, I've said it, I give credit to Alex for helping me with that footwork, that guitar fake. But you got to run the ball and then have the same type of action or to come back and do it. I think, they saw it, Matty saw it against Chicago and saw the replay and kind of fell in love with that fake. So he wanted to call it a few more times in the game because when we were on the sideline, I feel like we'd called it 3 times already, He goes, what do you think about counter keeper? And I was like, I feel like we won times already. You think they're gonna get one more time? So we kind of like, yeah, maybe we'll just sit on that one for a little bit. But I think we ended up running counter again. So it was, that's what you got to do. You got to match up the runs with the actions. Matt does a great job of that. This scheme does, and I love doing that action because I feel like whether or not it's the run or the keeper, when you match them up, it makes it hard on the defense for sure.